Welcome to my channel, Biology Class. Our today's topic is characteristics of living organisms. In order for something to be considered living, it must fulfill specific criteria that are true of all living organisms. These criteria can be remembered using the acronym MRSICREM, which stands for movement, respiration, sensitivity, control, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. If something does not carry out all of these life processes, it is either dead or non-living. Let's go into more details of these. Nutrition. Organisms must obtain food to provide energy. Energy is necessary to carry out life processes, example, movement, respiration, and excretion. Nutrition in plants. Plants use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to produce oxygen and glucose in the process of photosynthesis, and thus they are described as being autotrophic. Nutrition in animals. Animals consume other living organisms in order to obtain the energy they require. They break down larger complex molecules into simpler molecules through the process of digestion. As animals obtain their food from a range of different sources, they're described as being heterotrophic. Difference between autotroph and heterotroph. Autotrophs are producers. They produce their own food for energy, use photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. Heterotroph or consumers eat other organisms to get proteins and energy. Respiration. Respiration is a chemical reaction carried out in all living organisms. Energy is released from glucose either in the presence of oxygen, which is aerobic respiration, or the absence of oxygen, which is anaerobic respiration. The reaction ultimately results in the production of carbon dioxide and water as waste products. Energy is transferred in the form of ATP. Excretion is the removal of toxic materials and substances from organisms. Excretion in plants. CO2 is excreted at night when the rate of respiration exceeds the rate of photosynthesis. Water vapor is excreted through transpiration, whereas oxygen is excreted in the day when the rate of photosynthesis exceeds the rate of respiration. Waste products excreted by plants include oxygen from photosynthesis, carbon dioxide from respiration, water from respiration, and other chemical reactions. Excretion in animals. Lungs excrete carbon dioxide and water, where liver produces urea from amino acids. Skin excretes water and mineral ions, whereas kidney excretes water, mineral ions, and urea. Waste products excreted by animals include carbon dioxide from respiration, water from respiration, and other chemical reactions, urea, which contains nitrogen resulting from the breakdown of proteins. Sensitivity. The sensitivity of an organism refers to its ability to detect and respond to stimuli in its surroundings. Advantage. Responding to the environment around them gives an organism the best chance of survival. Sensitivity responses in animal. The nervous system and endocrine system allows humans to respond to their environment. In humans, the nervous system provides a complex system of receptors and neurons, including the effectors, which detect and respond to the stimuli using electrical impulses. The endocrine system also allows a response to stimuli using chemical messengers which travel in the blood called hormones. Sensitivity responses in plants. Phototropism and geotropism allow plants to respond to the environment. Phototropism is a growth response of light, whereas geotropism is a growth response of gravity. Movement. Movement is an action by an organism causing a change of position or place. In animals, locomotion is the directional movement that enables them to move from one location to another. In plants, plants cannot move from place to place, but they can change their orientation. Control. Living organisms must control their internal environment in order to keep conditions within required limits. This is called homeostasis. Homeostasis in humans. Thermoregulation is an example of homeostasis, required to maintain a body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. Thermoregulation refers to the control of body temperature. The optimum human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. If body temperature increases, like for example during exercise, the mechanism for control will be initiated to return the temperature back to the optimum. Mechanisms include sweating or vasodilation, homeostasis in plants. Plants use transpiration to maintain a suitable temperature. Water evaporates from the stomata on the underside of the leaf, leading to heat loss. Plants maintain an optimum temperature through transpiration. Reproduction. Reproduction is the process that leads to the process of more of the same kind of organism. There are two types of reproduction: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. In this type of reproduction, the male and female gametes fuse together. In humans, the male gamete is the sperm, and the female gamete is the egg. In plants, the male gamete is the pollen grain, and the female gamete is the ovule. The DNA of the offspring is composed of both maternal and paternal DNA. Sexual reproduction involves the fusing of two gametes to form a zygote that contains DNA from both parents. Asexual reproduction. Cells or whole organisms can also reproduce using asexual reproduction. Mitosis is an example of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction in bacteria involves creating exact copies of the parent cell. Growth. Growth is defined as a permanent increase in size. In animals, an individual grows larger between the zygote and adult stage with changes in proportion or shape. In plants, an individual grows larger throughout the whole life with new shoots, leaves, branches, etc., year after year. Thanks for watching.